Michael Chen stood at his kitchen window watching his wife Sarah tend to their front garden. After 20 years of marriage, he still loved watching her work with the flowers. The afternoon sun caught her auburn hair as she knelt by the roses they had planted together last spring. Their quiet suburban neighborhood had always been peaceful. Michael had retired from Delta Force 6 months ago, and they had moved here to start their golden years in tranquility. At 52, he was ready for a slower pace. Sarah, at 48, had finally convinced him that they deserved this peaceful life. That peace shattered when a dark SUV pulled up to their driveway. Two men stepped out wearing tactical vests emblazoned with HOA cops in bold white letters. They looked to be in their early 30s, muscular and aggressive in their movements. Michael felt something stir in his chest, an old instinct he thought he had left behind. Sarah stood up, brushing dirt from her jeans, her face showing confusion as the men approached her. Michael moved toward the front door. The taller one, who had banner on his vest, pointed at Sarah with an aggressive finger. "You violated HOA regulations. Those rose bushes are 6 inches too tall." Sarah's voice carried through the open window, polite but firm. "I'm sorry, I wasn't aware. I can trim them tomorrow." "Too late for that," the shorter one, Cooper, sneered. "We're issuing you a $500 fine." Michael opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. He moved slowly, deliberately, his body language calm, but his eyes sharp and assessing. Sarah turned to see him, relief washing over her face. "Michael, these gentlemen say we have a violation." "Gentlemen," Michael said quietly, descending the steps. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." Banner stepped forward, chest puffed. "No misunderstanding, old man. Your wife needs to learn to follow rules." The word old man hung in the air like a challenge. Cooper moved closer to Sarah, invading her personal space. Maybe she needs a lesson in respect. What happened next occurred in seconds but would replay in Michael's mind in slow motion forever. Cooper reached out and shoved Sarah's shoulder. Not hard, but enough to make her stumble backward. Then he laughed and did it again. Harder this time. Sarah's eyes went wide with shock and fear. Something ancient and protective roared to life inside Michael Chen. He moved with a speed that contradicted his age and retired status. His hand shot out and caught Cooper's wrist mid-reach, his grip like iron. "You just made the worst mistake of your life." Cooper tried to pull away, his face showing confusion, then alarm as he realized he couldn't break free. Banner moved forward, raising his fist. Michael's training took over. He released Cooper's wrist, stepped inside Banner's swing, and delivered a precise palm strike to the solar plexus. Banner crumpled, gasping for air. Cooper swung wildly at Michael's head. Michael ducked, swept Cooper's legs, and the man hit the concrete with a heavy thud. The entire exchange lasted less than 5 seconds. Both men lay on the ground, groaning. Michael stood over them, breathing steady, not even winded. Sarah had her phone out, recording everything. "Sarah, call the real police, please," Michael said softly. Within minutes, actual officers arrived. They took one look at the fake tactical vests and started shaking their heads. Officer Rodriguez, a woman in her 40s, examined the vests with disgust. "HOA cops," she said flatly. "This is the 3rd complaint this month. These two have been going around harassing homeowners, pretending to be some kind of authority, collecting fake fines." Banner was sitting up now, holding his chest. "We were just doing our jobs." "You don't have jobs," Rodriguez said coldly. "You're a scam artist, and now you're under arrest for assault, impersonating officers, and fraud." Cooper looked up at Michael with fear in his eyes. "Who are you, man?" Michael said nothing. He simply put his arm around Sarah, who was shaking slightly from the adrenaline. As the police led the two men away in handcuffs, Officer Rodriguez approached Michael. "Former military?" she asked. Something like that, Michael replied. She nodded with understanding. Thank you for showing restraint. With your training, you could have done much worse. After the police left, Sarah turned to Michael and wrapped her arms around him. My protector, she whispered. Always, he said, holding her close. That evening, as they sat on their porch watching the sunset, Sarah leaned against Michael's shoulder. You know what the funny thing is? Those roses they complained about? We planted them on the day you got home from your last deployment. Michael smiled, remembering. Best day of my life. Mine too, Sarah said. The neighborhood returned to its peaceful quiet. The roses continued to grow, beautiful and untrimmed, and Michael Chen, retired Delta Force operator, went back to being exactly what he wanted to be. A man enjoying his golden years with the woman he loved, in a home they had built together. But everyone on the block now knew. You could take the man out of Delta Force, but you couldn't take Delta Force out of the man, especially when someone threatened the people he loved. Some lessons are learned the hard way. Banner and Cooper learned theirs on a sunny afternoon, on a quiet suburban street, when they mistook kindness for weakness and retirement for softness. They learned that real strength doesn't need a fake vest. It doesn't need to bully or intimidate. Real strength protects. Real strength stands up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. And real strength, when necessary, delivers justice swiftly and decisively. Michael and Sarah's roses bloomed brilliantly that summer, reaching heights that would have made any HOA proud. No one ever complained about them again. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Leave a comment below, telling us about a time when someone stood up for you or when you stood up for someone else. Your stories matter and we would love to hear them.